Modern women love saying that equality and balance are good, but what they don't say is that those concepts are, well, somewhat confusing. In simple terms, they just want to have their cake and eat it too, keeping you under their thumb and changing the terms and conditions all the time. They want you to bring all the good things on earth to the table, but when you ask them what they offer, it's either themselves, thus objectifying themselves, or you just hear the sound of crickets. Many men work their asses off for the sake of getting women, reproducing, and all that biological stuff that women deny, until the undefeated wall hits them like an asteroid. But in all honesty, the juice is not worth the squeeze, especially in the West. And many men are exiting the dating scene because the ROI of doing a lot just so you can get a woman who offers nothing is, well, below zero. Check this out.
Women today are allowed to bring not a lot of feminine qualities to the table, and men are still willing to actually try to pursue them despite not bringing much to the table when it comes to the things I believe a woman should. Women today aren't feminine because they don't have to be. They still have access to men.
That's all guys want. All guys want is pussy.
Or could it be that the men that only want pussy, the men that only want sex from women, is because that's all that the women have to offer? Because for me, if pussy's all you're offering, pussy's all I want.
If pussy is all they offer, pussy is the only thing that men will ever want. Marrying a woman of that caliber, you must be out of your mind. In today's video, we're delving into a topic that makes many men realize how unbalanced the dating scene is, what women have to offer versus what men have to offer, and how this is forcing men to escape the dating scene. Stick around because I'm sure you're going to love this one. But before we go any further, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to MGTOW Path. He said, "The term is called cookie jarring. The ex is 100% an option that she's keeping on ice. The guy or guys that she's seeing are stringing her along, so in turn, she'll ride with it until she can't take it anymore. Then she will reconcile with the ex periodically before returning to the guys stringing her along for another dose of toxicity. Single at her age and with how beautiful she is a huge red flag." Man, it's hard to keep up with modern dating, isn't it? You'd think it's rocket science with all these terms and tips to consider. Please don't forget to reach out to us by email to claim your $5 for that comment of the day. As usual, guys, I'll pick one comment from each video. It may be the funniest, the most liked, or one that touched me, so don't forget to leave a comment and you may be our next winner. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons too, as it helps a lot. And now, back to the video. Embrace your masculinity. To start this video, let's check a Quora post written by a man who explains the key components of a good relationship, something that modern women don't know about or simply just don't want to understand. It's really simple stuff, but hey, modern women are all about making things 10 times more difficult both for men and themselves. I quote, "Men, what do you think a woman should bring to the table in a relationship or in order to pursue a relationship with you? Some basic criteria are capacity and willingness to love, capacity and willingness to respect, self-discipline, moral compass/strength of character, intelligence/competence. We live in a society where it's all about looking out for number one. In a relationship, it's perfectly okay to set limits and ensure that your own needs are met, but it's a completely different thing to be selfish and refuse to meet the other person's needs that are well within your capacity to meet. I believe that the opposite of love is selfishness, constantly having a "what can I get out of this" attitude. Often, this will manifest in being demanding and/or whining. There is a great reason that the proverb goes, "A continual dripping on a rainy day and a quarrelsome wife are alike. To restrain her is to restrain the wind, or to grasp oil in one's right hand." Proverbs 27:15. No matter how good looking and intelligent a woman is, if she isn't willing to reason with me, pull her weight, and cease whining and complaining, we're not going to be a good match. If she is a high maintenance, selfish woman and puts the burden of happiness and peace within the relationship all on my shoulders, I'll shrug that burden off faster than you can say break up and never look back. Now, in marriage, when there are bad days and bad weeks, we need to work through these things together. That's what the promise is for. But we've already established that there is goodwill from the start. Both of us said, I do. So that means that we can work through the difficult times. But if these sorts of nasty personality flaws become evident beforehand, I'll pass on being involved with the woman at all. It's not worth it.
A woman shared her regrets about not working harder to save her marriage now that her ex-husband is happily remarried. The 41-year-old woman shared to the True Off My Chest subreddit that she left her husband around 10 years ago, shortly after they'd had their first child together. According to this woman, there were no major issues in the marriage. She was a stay-at-home mom and had her husband wrapped around her finger. He did whatever she said, and she burned him out. When he grew tired of her demands, she started threatening divorce. She thought she was still a great catch and that she could do better than her husband, so she left. She ended up getting joint custody of her son and the house after the divorce. Now, 10 years later, the ex-husband is happily remarried with a baby daughter and a new house. The divorced woman, on the other hand, has been unmarried ever since. She's jealous of her ex-husband's new wife, saying, "She took my husband, she took my kid, she took my life that was once mine, and now I live in an empty house." She claims she is alone and miserable and wishes she would have been a better wife 10 years ago so she wouldn't be in this situation. As you can probably imagine, not many people were very sympathetic towards this woman. "You got what you deserved and he got what he deserved," one Redditor commented. Others noted that the new wife didn't take anything from her, with one saying, "You gave it away." This woman's story may end in bitterness and guilt, but that's not the case for most divorcees. According to research derived from family law attorneys, 80% of divorcees end up remarried. While divorce is a valid option in many situations, it's not always the solution. It takes two to make things work, and many people believe this woman reaped what she sowed.
This is really interesting because that woman is now all alone and has no man by her side, but all she can do is blame the woman who quote-unquote stole her husband. Like, nah girl, you didn't act right when problems came your way, now you're getting just what you deserved. This is the problem of modern women. They think that the grass is greener on the other side, so once they're not happy for whatever reason, they feel like dumping the man and chasing the next shiny object. Blaming someone else for the breakdown of a relationship is a convenient way for chicks to avoid self-reflection and accountability, as you can tell. Relationships are complex, and problems can arise for a multitude of reasons, for sure. But when issues arise, pointing fingers and placing blame on external factors, such as another person, may seem like an easy way out for women. However, this approach rarely leads to genuine resolution or personal growth. Many men are natural problem solvers, but women have PhDs in fault finding. The idea that the grass is greener on the other side is a common trap that many women fall into. I mean, they fall into this trap of believing that a new relationship will magically solve their problems or make them happier. This perspective, however, often ignores the fact that lasting, fulfilling relationships require effort, compromise, and self-improvement. On top of that, if she keeps her exes around, that ain't cool for the next dude. In many cases, relationships can be salvaged and improved through open communication, which, by the way, is the very thing that women want all the time but can't even offer. I mean, understanding and a willingness to work through difficulties together? Cool, but jumping ship at the first sign of trouble is a huge no-no. That's why men are more incentivized than ever before to vet women out, because the honeymoon phase is as temporary as a modern woman's love for you. Modern women are all about the corny idea that true happiness and fulfillment in a relationship come from the inside, but in many cases, it rather comes from the things they get inside themselves, if you know what I mean. Personal growth, developing emotional intelligence, and understanding that a successful partnership is built on a foundation of love, respect, and mutual effort is something 99.9% of men comprehend, but few women really put into practice. The dynamics of modern relationships are not easy, mostly because of how modern women operate, but these chicks can't resist the temptation to blame external agents for personal challenges. Addressing problems with openness, self-reflection, and a commitment to growth is an alien concept to them. In the end, the grass is often greener where you water it, right? But these chicks can't even get this simple logic. What can you expect from women who let their feelings dictate their actions?
Marriage in 2023 isn't marriage. It is not marriage today.
What is it?
It's.
And that's just it, man. It's always like that. Marriage truly isn't marriage today. It's just like a long-term relationship until the woman usually feels like leaving. And 9 times out of 10, you the guy sits there lost, confused, blindsided. She had an exit strategy. She's been talking to her single friends. They've been putting thoughts in her head. She takes off. She takes all your stuff. Now she wants to get scornful. She wants to ruin you. She threatens you with law enforcement. She wants to file a restraining order against you. She wants to take literally your kids or whatever she thinks she's entitled to now that she wants out, of course, right? And it's just like the guy constantly has to just go through the process, right? Do it legally, stay patient, stay calm, be chill. But meanwhile, she's wreaking havoc on your entire life. She'll go to your social circles and cause trouble there and wherever else she can, because that's just how she can be. But all the while, for better or for worse, and sicknesses and health, and they love you so much, right? It's future faking is what it is. They sign a contract promising to be all of these things no matter whatever happens. You're it. They're rock solid with you until they decide that they no longer have to do it anymore. And you know what? They can leave at any time. Marriage doesn't have to be for better or for worse. I'm not obligated to stay with this person if the relationship is shit and I'm not happy, right? Then it's not marriage. And that's why men should never get married, period.
Now, let's get back to the text, in particular to the capacity and willingness to love that women should but never will have. You see, when it comes to the fundamental criteria for a successful relationship, few things carry as much weight as the capacity and willingness to love. In a world that often emphasizes self-preservation and personal gain because everyone out there wants to get something from you, understanding what it means to have a balanced and fair relationship becomes paramount. Men understand this rationale, but women don't because they just want to extract value instead of providing value. Here are the key points women just don't get. In a healthy relationship, boundaries are essential. Like, if she wants to be monogamous and have your protection and provision, she's simply not allowed to go to the club. Period. It's perfectly acceptable to assert your own needs and ensure they are met. And if she doesn't, no problem. You kick her to the curb. After all, a relationship should never become a one-sided affair where your own happiness and well-being are constantly compromised. The key is finding a balance where both partners' needs are acknowledged and respected. So, here's another example. She wants you on your A game, right? So, she better make you a goddamn sandwich when you're hungry. Love involves mutual support, and none of the two parties should be there solely for their own gain.
Women are very selfish today because all we do is tell men what we want, what we feel, and even though we don't like how they think, we've never even tried to accept the way that they think or learn the way that they think.
Understand, why don't you want any more children?
Because my child is 10 and I'm single, I'm not dating anybody, so I would have to meet someone, get to know them, get into a relationship, get married. So by the time I do that, how old do you think my child will be? 13, 14? So then I just don't want to start the entire process over. I don't want to have a teenager and a newborn.
So it almost seems like selfishness in a type of way. You want a man to come over and help raise a preteen by another man, but then that man also doesn't get children of his own that he gets to raise into preteenhood to adulthood.
Here's the reality: as a single mother, there are all the choices are not easy. Because the first thing I thought of was, you're selfish. You want this about you.
The antithesis of love is selfishness, as you can see. When you're constantly preoccupied with what you can get out of a relationship, it's a clear sign that genuine love is lacking. Many former players are aware of this, and so are women who rip off men. but at least men redeem themselves more often than women. Selfishness can manifest in demanding behavior or incessant whining, which erodes the foundation of a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships thrive on selflessness and willingness to give without expecting something in return. In moderation, of course. Modern women say that genuine love involves caring for your partner's well-being and happiness as much as your own, but they just want to complain that you're not good enough. Genuine love is for sure about finding joy in mutual happiness and working together to build a fulfilling life together. But women think they don't need to offer anything in return. When both partners prioritize each other's needs and feelings, the relationship blossoms into something beautiful and enduring. But more often than not, while the man is on his A game all the time, the woman feels free to act right whenever she wants. Love isn't a one-way street, for sure. It requires effort and understanding from both sides. If one partner, often the man, consistently carries the emotional or logistical burdens of the relationship, it creates an imbalance that can lead to resentment and dissatisfaction. The ability to reason together, communicate openly, and share responsibilities is vital for the longevity of any relationship. Mutual effort ensures that both partners feel valued and heard. The reality? Well, you work your ass off while all she does is watch Sex and the City and gossip with her female friends. Oh, and working a job she hates just because some random guy boosts her ego.
Let me help you with some ways that you can help your husband. Every man needs honor and respect. Speak well of him. Tell him what he does great, according to his abilities and his qualities and his achievements. Allow him to fail. A lot of women are damaging their relationships because they're being their husband's mother and not their partner. No man wants another mom.
I've never heard a man complain about having to lead in the relationship as long as he feels loved and respected.
Yes.
If he feels appreciated.
If he doesn't feel loved, appreciated, or respected, then it's exhausting.
Yes, exactly. That's the only time.
If she's complaining that you're not doing enough and you feel like, man, I'm carrying this whole relationship, I'm doing all the work, I'm paying for everything, I'm doing all the chore, and you still don't respect me.
Moving on, here's what makes men really mad at modern women. I'm talking about women's unreasonable demands. A demanding attitude can be detrimental to any relationship. Demanding partners often set unrealistic expectations, creating a constant sense of pressure and unease. Being reasonable means understanding that both individuals have their own limits and respecting those boundaries. It means that women should comprehend that you can't fulfill all her wishes. Sorry, girl, I ain't Santa or an ATM. With that being said, let's touch on the text's second point, capacity and willingness to respect. I quote, "This is perhaps even more important than the willingness to love. If a woman doesn't have enough respect for herself and for others, I know that she's going to make life hell for everyone around her. If she doesn't have enough self-respect, she'll become everyone's doormat, or even worse, a booty call. If she doesn't have enough respect for others, she'll expect other people to bend over backwards to satisfy her. Lacking both is even more of a surefire recipe for an internally inconsistent disaster. No one in his right mind wants to be in a relationship with 95% of preteen girls, whether they're disguised in the body of someone in her 20s or 30s or not. A gigantic indicator of this sort of thing is how this woman's parents interact. If her mom shows contempt to her dad, then you know that you have a lot more to unpackage and talk about than if her parents are in a mutually loving and respectful relationship. If a woman views treating others with contempt as acceptable, I'll pass on her.
We live in a world now, right, where like male authority is no longer respected. And what I mean by this is like if a guy puts a boundary on his chick, like let's say she wants to go on a trip, and he says, I don't want you going on that trip. Instead of their girlfriend saying, you know what, that's probably right, you probably shouldn't go on a girl's trip to Tulum with your girlfriends that are all single and or whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're going to say, no, he's controlling. That's toxic. That's blah, blah, blah. Because why? There's a general lack of respect for male authority in 2023. So what I teach guys is, yo, and you have to be that guy and make the girl the right girlfriend for you. Because a lot of these girls come in indoctrinated with bad habits, etc. And this is why I tell guys you got to in the bullshit out of girls. You got to mold them, dude. But then I say this shit, that's misogynistic. you. No, it's realistic because men have to move differently now because girls don't come pre-assembled. They don't come with a good father. They don't come with a good family. They don't have religion. They don't have morals. They don't have shame anymore. So you have to put these things in them as the guy and the leader.
The capacity and willingness to respect rank among the foundational pillars for men. It's an aspect of a relationship that cannot be underestimated, particularly when considering the male perspective. Men yearn for respect in their relationships, and understanding this dynamic is pivotal for fostering a healthy connection. Respect, in essence, is a two-way street. It begins with an individual's ability to respect oneself. In the context of a relationship, self-respect is crucial because it sets the tone for how one expects to be treated by their partner. When a person respects themselves, they are more likely to establish boundaries and expectations that promote a balanced and respectful relationship. So far, so good. However, it's equally important to extend that respect to one's partner. Here's where women mess up, and sometimes they don't really even respect themselves because, let's face it, they objectify themselves. In the context of respect, two extremes can be detrimental to a relationship: being a doormat or being overly demanding. Men do not want to be in a position where they feel taken for granted or disrespected. Being a doormat in a relationship means sacrificing one's own needs and self-respect to please the other person. It can lead to feelings of insignificance and resentment. On the other end of the spectrum, being an overly demanding partner can also erode respect in a relationship. Constantly imposing one's will, disregarding the other person's needs, or expecting them to bend over backward to fulfill one's desires can create an unhealthy power dynamic that undermines respect and equality. That's what women don't seem to understand, and why men are escaping this dating scene like never before. Stay strong, guys. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you will get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video, guys. Till next time.